author of the storytelling series for small businesses and content creators. In Obehi podcast, we talk about the power of your story, your narrative, and why you should own your voice. Whether you are a small business owner, a content entrepreneur, or you simply want to build your influence, storytelling is probably going to be your best instrument to connect with your audience. So join the awakened few who are owning their voices. Now let's get started with today's episode.
Okay, as a woman, you can get pregnant the moment you have seen your cycle from 12 years, which begins from pubic age. And now you decide to keep yourself. You decide to take care of yourself. You stayed out of danger. You stayed out of unnecessary pregnancy. You stayed out of prostitution. You stayed out of having childs out of marital homes, out of wedlock. You stayed out of having bastards, and I will explain what I mean by bastards. Bastards, obviously, in the current explanation, is a child that is being gotten illegally, just without father, or without being sure of who is the father and all that. So you have been a woman. You have made your family proud in not bringing shame by not doing all that I have listed. In order to honor you also and encourage others, because it's a kind of deterrent, it's a kind of emulatable behavior that should be passed to your younger ones. And more especially as a first daughter, particularly, people are more strict on that my first daughter did not mess around. So my other daughters will never do that. And it is assumed that whatever wrong the first daughter did, or probably mistakes she would have done, the rest would do that. That's why I say it's emulatable. So that's why in Africa we encourage the first daughter particularly to live a life of, exemplary, whereby the younger ones will follow the steps and keep themselves also to that age and not bring shame to the family. So it is more important and welcome and appreciated in African content in terms of a girl standing out with a good behavior. It's not necessarily about virginity, but it's necessarily trying to say that this girl did not mess up until he finds the man that will marry her, or the man that marries her, wants to marry her, finds her. So it is a program of honor to also say thank you, my daughter, for not making us look, bad in the whole community, for having that discipline, and for also planting that behavior among your younger siblings.
Do you want to say anything about the preparation? How people are prepared before they initially eventually get initiated into the process? I mean, what do you want to tell us about the preparation? What do they need to do? Because I believe it's not just something that happened suddenly, that there had to be some preparation before you, because you are talking of becoming an adult now. And so what would you like to say about that?
There are some areas I wouldn't want to talk about, but I will say the ones that are obvious. First and foremost, it borders on behavior. It's one of the preparation concept. It's one of the preparations, acceptance. If maybe the child is wayward, he or she might not be accepted to celebrate it when it's right for he or she to do so. It's a kind of punishment or penalty like I said, it is a sort of moral instruction, kind of celebration in order to make that child proud. So if the child did not behave his or herself, then the family can deny that person that process of going in for initiation for that very section where he or she is already qualified to be. And another one is the whole community's eyes is on those set of children, also to see that they are not bringing somebody who has already misbehaved before initiation. In other words, it is a checkmate for people to behave well and to be celebrated in their level or entrance to youth. So if the person is not being celebrated, means the person has misbehaved, means the person is not honored. And in the community, they will also know that this person is supposed to do this, but he didn't do it due to manners, due to behaviors. Those are the ones I would like to speak about. Physical preparation is also keeping yourself holy prior to the time of your circumcision, of your initiation, or whatever it might be called. It is. I'm mentioning these two words because they go together. So now, at that very time, you have to have practiced some holistic kind of behavior and spiritual exercises. Spiritual exercises that will show that you are really, really ready for this calling into the next section of your life.
Oh, right. That's good. That's great. That's great. Now, what would be your final thought here to conclude the conversation? A kind of maybe a final message to leave the people with. Please go ahead and do that.
My message to all Africans is we should continue this process of induction and workshops. We should not be sympathizers that cries more than the bereaved. We should not copy so much of the Western world and forget our root and culture. Our ancestors are crying for it because they see that they have left generations that have left their roots, generations that cannot pass on to the next generation. We are all westernized and we are all living what we are supposed to do. And the point is, if we all go Western, who carries the culture of Africa? My dear people, I am going to say, let us make sure that we instill the discipline of our culture, traditions, and customs to our children, irrespective of whoever they should be. As a matter of fact, it should be the first inductions that we give our children, their roots, give them the stories and who they are and what they should deviate and what they shouldn't deviate from. This is what I feel that most families should do, particularly. Every family has a role in Africa. Every family has a role. Let's stop behaving more of the Westerners than who we are. Uhuru, Africa, Asante San.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe so you never miss any of our future episodes. Rate and review Obehi Podcast and share with your friends who might need it. Thank you so much for listening. I'll talk to you in the next episode.